I am very pleased now to introduce our guest speaker, Kris Poole. Kris Poole is an 18-year veteran of Toastmasters, having joined in April of 2005. He is an administration manager for District 35 in Wisconsin and enjoys visiting clubs across the country. She currently belongs to 3 clubs and holds 5 officer roles between them. She's VP Education for all 3 clubs, something she does not recommend for the faint-hearted. On the professional side, Kris has been employed with the state of Wisconsin for the past 13 years. She works as an employment and training specialist, putting her Toastmaster skills into practice daily. She's with us today to share techniques to tackle table topics. As we prepare to compete in our upcoming table topics contests, volunteer during a club meeting to be a table topic speaker, or use impromptu speaking skills in our everyday lives, take note of the 8 techniques you can apply to answer table topics. Let's welcome District 35 past district director and 4-time distinguished Toastmaster, Kris Poole, with techniques to tackle table topics. Kris, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Janet, and welcome everyone, District 18 and beyond. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be located in our world today. I am here because Janet actually heard me give a take on this topic already, techniques to tackle table topics. We all have opportunities for impromptu speaking, but sometimes the words just do not want to come out of our mouth. That's why I am here today. Some of the topics that we are going to be covering. We're going to talk a little bit about practicing with purpose. I'm going to give you a 5-step formula for success, share a couple of general tips, and then go into 8 specific techniques you can use when answering table topics. As we continue then, we'll go through a few more tips. We'll give you time for some practice and asking questions. If you are planning to participate in your table topics contest, in our appendix, I do have several resources for preparing for the contest. Depending on our timing, I may show them to you, but otherwise, you can always review the presentation information. I will drop it into the chat for everyone if you want to download it and use it for your benefit and review after our session today. Hopefully, everyone is going to be a little bit interactive because with that practice part, I will be calling on you. And I should warn you, I have a tendency when I ask for a volunteer, if no one volunteers within a couple of seconds, I volunteer. Just giving you that heads up. We practice with a purpose in so many different situations. We have to learn to speak on our feet during an interview. If we have meetings with coworkers, our supervisor, the big boss, even on a phone call, we have to be able to speak. We need to think off the cuff. There are so many situations that we're involved in. When we look at and think about practicing with a purpose, I have heard so many Toastmasters complain, well, I'm doing my second path of my Toastmasters pathways. Why do I have to repeat level 1? Why do I have to give an icebreaker again? Why? I don't mind it. I'm on path number 15. 15 icebreakers. It is that repetition. It is that reinforcement of our skills. When you look at those people who play sports, they play music, cook, surgery, whatever it may be, you always have to reinforce those the basic speaking skills. And that's what today is. We want you to practice with a purpose, and you can do this with table topics. I love this quote from Aristotle. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. We practice, 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 so that when we are called upon at a moment's notice, we are ready to go. All right, I gave you the teaser. I said I'm going to give you a 5-step formula for success. You can use this 5-step formula for table topics, but you can also use this in any situation that you find yourself in. Grab your pens and paper, take some notes if you want. The first step in this 5-step formula is to listen. Pay attention to what someone is asking you. What are the parameters? Don't start thinking of your response immediately. Take the time to concentrate on what is being asked of you. Once you have finished listening, take a pause. Take a moment, think about what was asked of you. Anytime when we are in table topics, and I see this repeatedly, as soon as that table topics master is done, oh, start speaking right away. No, take that pause, take that moment. You can slow down and think about what you want to respond. Our third step, confirm. This is where you want to confirm with that other person, what did they say? Summarize, repeat back to them what it is that they want you to talk about. Depending on the situation, in table topics in a club meeting, it is okay to ask for clarification or for the person to repeat it again. If you are in a table topics contest, though, you are only given your question 2 times. If you're not familiar with that table topics contest format, you are introduced with your name, the question, and your name again. You are not allowed to ask for that table topics or contest master to repeat the information. So just be aware of this. But in a regular situation, yes, you can ask for confirmation. Yes, this is what I want to be responding to. Step number 4, tell your answer. Remember, table topics is only 1 to 2 minutes. You don't have to go on to this great big huge soliloquy. You want to focus in and answer the question as it is. Table topics, 1 to 2 minutes, short, sweet, succinct, concise. Tell your answer. Don't be like me, where where I have that tendency. I want to start going off on tangents. Those squirrels distract me. Stay on target and tell your answer. Once you are done, end. You want to do a very quick, short summary. Wrap up and reapply, reinforce what you just said. And you want to end. End on a happy note if it's appropriate. End on a sad note. End with a question. End with a call to action. Different ways, but you want to wrap up your response. That is your 5-step formula for success. Listen, pause, confirm, tell, end. Nice, short, sweet, simple, concise. When we start moving into table topics, how many of you actually quickly volunteer? Oh, I want to answer table topics. I love answering table topics. I normally don't get called on it because I'm involved in another major role in a club meeting. But there are so many members that I see in my clubs or the clubs that I go and visit. They kind of shrink back in their seat. They want to be hidden because they don't want to step up. And for me, my thought is Toastmasters is your place to fail. Toastmasters is your place to make mistakes, learn from your mistakes, and grow from that experience. You should be volunteering every single time when you are given that opportunity for table topics. The more you practice, the easier it will become. And that is what will make you a proficient table topics speaker. So just a couple of quick little tips for table topics. You want to smile. You want to be congenial to your audience. Address the group. Sometimes it's a little difficult when you are in that online setting because you want to focus in on that little tiny pinpoint of a camera. But how do you actually take in and pull the entire audience in on your response virtually? That's something else that you can practice. If you are in a room full of real people, now you can look at different individuals. You can find that key person who's always happy, smiling. They can help focus you. Look at different parts of the room and let your gaze and eye contact go throughout. It's table topics, it's Toastmasters. You do not need to apologize. You do not need to make excuses. You just move forward. Be sure that you are speaking clearly and audibly. If for whatever reason you are in a room and you are offered the opportunity to use a microphone, take it, please. I'm in so many situations. Oh, I don't need a microphone. I can project my voice. And they are so quiet without the microphone. Please use the microphone if it's offered. If you need something to help generate what your response is going to be, think of a witty remark. Maybe you have a quote, you have a favorite author. Maybe you could start by singing a song because it helps engage that audience, capture their attention. In your club meetings, what is the word of the day? How can you incorporate that as part of your response? It's kind of fun to try and do that. All right, let's get into the meat of this workshop. 8 techniques to successfully tackle table topics. TTT. First technique. It is simply to express your opinion. Can't be right, can't be wrong. Well, actually, it should be right because it's your opinion, your thought. You answer the question with your opinion. What is your favorite holiday tradition? What is your favorite holiday tradition? Janet. Oh, I should let you all know, this is my warning. This is where some of the interaction comes from, and I will be calling on individuals to help me explain these techniques. So Janet, expressing your opinion, what is your favorite holiday tradition? 30 seconds.
My favorite holiday tradition, it has got to be the food. I absolutely love how the house smells when the Thanksgiving turkey is cooking or when the Christmas cookies are baking. I love to smell the food cooking. I love to watch the food being presented, being laid out. I love to remember holiday meals with my grandparents and cousins, and of course, eat the leftovers and have Christmas cookies after Christmas. So now I'm getting hungry. Thank you, Kris.
Thank you. Express your opinion. It's perfect. Technique number 2 is to identify 1 or 2 key ideas. Remember, table topics is only 1 to 2 minutes, so you don't have to go into a lot of different aspects. A variation of this identifying key ideas is identify that idea and then give an agree or disagree. Why or why wouldn't you want to do something? Question. Where do you usually get your news? Where do you usually get your news? Larry Riggs.
I am an early riser. I'm up at my computer usually 3:30 in the morning. So I scan several different news outlets because I like to get varied opinions and well, or stories as it may be. So a variety of sources. I can't say that I pinpoint one.
Perfect. And as you go through, thank you so much, Larry. As you're going through these techniques, some of them do seem to have an overlap because identifying key ideas. So he's an early riser, scans different areas on internet for social news and information. It can also be considered as part of his opinion because that is what he does. So yes, some of these techniques will overlap. All right, technique number 3. This is where you can use a formula. Past, present, future. What did you do? Maybe the question, how was your budget information coming along as you're developing your department budget? Last year, we planned for 1.5 million. This year, we actually exceeded our budget by $500,000. So next year, we are planning 2.5 million. When I was a child, I liked to brush my teeth with Crest. As an adult, I use AIM, and in the future, well, I know next week I've got a dentist appointment and I'm getting all my teeth pulled out, and it's going to be dentures. Past, present, future. Let's see, who can I pick on here now? Linda Thompson, president. What is the best birthday celebration you've ever had? Best birthday celebration using past, present, and future technique. Linda Thompson. And you're on mute. Oh, you're on mute, Linda. Thank you.
One of the best birthday celebrations that I have ever had was outside, sitting on the deck during COVID. The children were running around the yard and the lights were on, and it was just the way things were relaxed for us. It was just very relaxed being outside for a change instead of inside, being cooped up in a kitchen or something like that. I think that now celebrating my birthday involves having my grandchildren around me. I think that's one of the best types of celebrations that I could ever have. It doesn't matter really where we are, but just having those grandkids around to help me blow out the candles and make me feel like a special grandma. Those are two of the ways I like to celebrate my birthday.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Linda. Past, present, future. All right, technique number 4. Relate your answer. Relate the topic of what you're being asked and relate it to something that you already know. Maybe it's about a book or a magazine you've recently read, a TV show or a movie. Maybe something's happening at work that you can relate your answer to. Do you have a hobby or a passion that would be appropriate to talk about in response to the question? Let me think. I always, normally when I do this workshop, I give the example, what brand toothpaste do you recommend and why? What brand of toothpaste do you recommend and why? Let's see. Let's have Judith Coates, Sergeant at Arms.
Hello, everyone.
What brand
Can you
of
hear me?
toothpaste do you recommend? Relate the answer to a topic you already know about.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, guest speaker. The favorite brand of toothpaste that I recommend is the Crest Densify, excuse me. And I recommend that because I was recently at the dentist office and I realized in speaking with the dentist that I needed to actually change my toothpaste. I needed something that was going to help with the bone structure because I'm a little long in the tooth, aka getting older. So what I used when I was younger is not exactly working now. So that is the brand of toothpaste that I recommend.
All right, thank you. So she related it to something with the dentist office, something that had happened to her recently. All right, technique number 5. Bring your family on into your answer. When you bring those family members in, it helps you create an emotional connection with your audience. It can build a story, build those characters. You can facilitate dialogue instead of, well, he said that and then I said that. Take on those character voices. My father went to the store. Richard, why did you do that? Use the family to tell a story. And for those of you without human babies, you can use your fur babies as part of your answer. All right, here's the question for you. What would be the best job for you? What would be the best job for you? Let's call on, oh, everybody else has their pictures off here now. Let's look at George Kemmerlin. George, come on down. No, George? All right. Dante Johnson, VPPR. Come on off of mute.
The best job for me would be to talk about sports. Anything with talking, I guess my kids would not be a big fan of because they think that I talk too much. But I do enjoy sports a lot. So anytime that I would get to converse or talk about my favorite sports, which is football, and I do that because I have a podcast in which I talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. So I am doing what I love to do, and my kids pay it no mind. So, that would be like, and that's okay. That's okay in a certain sense because it gives me an escape from them. And I need that sometimes. So that would be my best job, is talking about sports.
Thank you so much, Dante. I love it. Get away from the kids. Bringing that family into your answer. It's always brings that unique perspective. Number 6, pros and cons. Well, what's good about this? What's bad about it? Or cause and effect, kind of the same thing. All right, here's a weird, unusual question, but I want you to use technique number 6. If you could be empowered with one superhuman ability, what ability would you choose and why? Let's pick on Carl Barsky, treasurer and trainer.
And I get you to repeat it. I didn't quite hear it.
Oh, sure. So if using the technique of pros and cons or cause and effect, if you could be empowered with one superhuman ability, what ability would you choose and why?
Madam Table Topics Master, if I could be empowered with one superpower, I would like to be a problem solver. I'm already pretty good at it, but if I could have a superpower of that nature, I could do it at any time. Now, this would have certain good effects. I would be well renowned for being able to solve any problem anywhere. On the other side of the coin, though, it could be that I would be inundated with requests to solve problems. Therefore, I think it might not be so good to have that superpower or any, because you get too busy. Madam Table Topics Master.
Perfect. Thank you. You went through those pros and then the cons for it. Love it. All right. Number 7. I love this one. Acknowledge the question, but then you answer something else. This comes in really handy in a club meeting, but I'm going to warn you, this technique should never, ever, ever be used in a table topics contest. And I say never, never, never use this technique because on the judges' ballot in the table topics contest, the judges can actually mark down your score for not directly answering a question. So just keep that in the back of your minds. Technique 7, at a club meeting, yes. In a contest, it's a no-no. So acknowledge the question, then answer something else. This is usually kind of a nice one if you're the third or fourth table topics speaker, that you would normally try and pull one of the other questions that had been asked of another speaker and ask that question. So let's do this one. What is your most unusual fear? What is your most unusual fear? And let's go with Patricia Pines.
Thank you, Madam Guest Speaker, fellow Toastmasters. I am slightly uncomfortable about speaking about my greatest fear, so I would like to share with you something that had me deep in thought the other day. I was wondering why some things go viral and some things just die on the vine, like Wordle, like yellow school buses. Some ideas, they catch fire. And it came to me that there is a high emotional content in the things that catch fire. Wordle, you can share with friends your successes without giving away the answers. So if you are intent on getting your idea out to everybody, I think the key is to find something emotional, something where people can share what they've done with others in a successful way. Madam Table Topics Master.
Perfect response. You acknowledged the question and you explained very briefly that you were not comfortable answering that and went into something else. Perfect use of technique 7. All right, number 8 is coming up, my last technique to share. And this one may seem a little unusual, but it needs to be done. Lie. There is nowhere, anywhere in the rules of Toastmasters that you have to answer table topics truthfully. Be creative, have some fun, especially if you don't know the information on how to answer in table topics. Make something up. If you are confident in your response, people won't know that it's not true. Doesn't really matter. So let's practice that technique. Pretend you're a politician. Just lie about it. All right. Let's see. Who do I want now? Let's have Kezia Black. Your question is going to be, what is the most unusual food you have ever eaten?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
The most unusual food I have ever eaten would have to be blowfish. I don't know where else to go with that because it's flat out a lie. I've never had blowfish before, nor would I ever want to try it because I don't want to die, even by chance. And the only thing I can do with that is take it, I put it on a plate, and I offer it to someone else at the table who was a little more daring. I think that's the best I can do with it.
Thank you so much. Sometimes it takes a little practice to lie because we normally don't do that, do we? And my thought, again, combining some of these techniques. So if I wanted to talk about the blowfish, I remember in this one book that the chef, he waited until the fish was blown up because that's the perfect time for you to cut into the fish and get it ready to cook. But you had to be careful because that one little vein, that's where all the poison is. But if you avoid that, it is the best tasting blowfish. And I was at this Japanese restaurant when I was in Tokyo a couple years ago. Oh my gosh, that chef did phenomenal. I can't believe How good blowfish tasted. Say it with confidence and people will think it is true. And no, I have never had blowfish myself. All right, people, those are my 8 techniques to tackle table topics. Express your opinion. Give a key idea. Past, present, future. Relate your answer to something you know. Bring your family into your answer. Give the pros and cons. Acknowledge the question being asked and then actually answer something else, or completely and willfully lie and vote your answer. Those are your 8 techniques. We're going to practice. We're going to have 3 people where you can pick the technique you want. We're going to practice. And then I've got a couple more tips, and then we'll go into a little bit of Q&A. All right. So now, do we have a volunteer? I can't see everyone, so come off of mute and say, me.
Sure.
Okay, I heard a sure, not sure who that is, but this is your
Andrew
question.
Coe.
And
Okay.
all right, thank you, Joe. All right, pick your technique. What is the most unusual fashion craze you have ever tried? And only about 30 seconds or so we need. What is the most unusual fashion craze you have ever tried?
The most unusual fashion craze I have ever tried was feathering my hair. Back when I had a lot of hair. Back when I was about 20 years younger, it was probably something that was prevalent in the late 90s, early 2000s. People started feathering their hair. I'm not going to take off my hat to show what my hair looks like now, but back in the day, it was beautiful. It was textured. It was layered. All the ladies went crazy for my feathered hair. Yeah, feathered hair. That's where it was back in the 2000s. That's my crazy fashion fad.
All right. Okay, everyone, chat. What method did he use? What technique? Type it into the chat. Relate to what you know. Past, present, future. A lot of past, present, future. Lie. I like that one. All right. Make it personal to yourself. Opinion. Like I said, we have that overlap with these techniques. All right. Next volunteer.
Me.
Say me. Okay, I got a me. All right. How would your life be different if you did not have to sleep?
Okay, can you please repeat?
Yes. So use whatever technique you want, Gayatri. How would your life be different if you did not have to sleep?
If I did not have to sleep, life wouldn't be different for me. It would be different for people around me. How you ask? Let me tell you. Nobody around me would be happy because I am not happy. Nobody around me would be sane because I wouldn't be sane. Nobody around me would be peaceful because I wouldn't be peaceful. I would ensure that everyone around me is just as miserable as I am. Because guess what? Life will not be different without sleep for me, but I'll ensure it's different for everyone around me. Madam Table Topics Master.
Love it. Thank you. All right, everyone. What method do you think Gayatri used there? Family, family, family. Everyone, family. I love it. So we're going to make my family miserable too. All right. I said 3, but I lied. We're only going to have 2 examples here. Couple more tips when you think about how you want to answer table topics. And I say this, pay attention to the questions and answers being asked and given. Even though you may not be the one answering a table topics question, I love listening to those questions because for me, it can lead to an entire 5 to 7 minute speech. I'll start jotting things down. Oh, that'll be a fantastic speech. Oh, I could do that one. That'll be fantastic. Pay attention to the questions and the answers because sometimes what a person responds, that could be what generates an idea for you. Or, oh, I never thought I could talk about my mom with her Alzheimer's. First time I ever talked about my mom was because I heard someone else talk about their parent with Alzheimer's. Planning your answer. I really enjoy when I'm at a Toastmasters meeting, the table topics master asks the question of everyone, and everyone has to plan out their answer before they're being called on. When I specifically am at a meeting and they say, Olivia, this is your question, I tune it out because I know it's not being asked of me. Plan out your answer regardless if it is given to you or to someone else. How would you think that you would answer that question? Remember, 1 to 2 minutes. Watch your time, and I know I'm coming up against mine. Practice regularly. Volunteer at your clubs and answer table topics and use Google. Google is your friend. If you do a Google search, table topic questions, so many different websites pop up. This is where you can just grab a question and answer it on your own. The Udly or Yodely, however you pronounce it, on our Toastmasters profile when you log in. Great games for you to practice answering table topics. No matter what, I want you to remember to be confident, be brief, and be sincere in your answer. What is that? And I have a challenge for you before we open up some Q&A. My challenge to you, be the first person to volunteer to answer table topics. Ooh, I want to do it. And if you've not yet competed at your club contests to move to your area, participate in that table topics contest. The practice and the amount of improvement that you see when you are going from one level to another, it's beyond compare. Participate no matter what. All right, folks, it is now time for Q&A. What questions do you have for me that I can answer?
Yes.
Yes.
Richard. Question. When you have guests attending your session, is it proper to ask them to join in table topics? Is it proper to, if they do not want to force them to partake in a table topic?
Thank you for the second part of that. So yes, so normally if you have guests coming in, if they have any exposure to Toastmasters in the past, they may already be familiar with table topics, and so you can ask them, do you want to participate? And they'll say right away, yes, I want to participate, or I don't want to. If it is someone, this is their first time with table topics, with Toastmasters, ask them, and if they say, no, I don't want to, that's fine. You don't want to pressure them. No matter what, though, you never call on a guest to be the first speaker in table topics. Ask 1 or 2 of your members to answer it. That way the guest, oh, really, it's not that much pressure. It's not that difficult. And that can help give them that confidence that they've seen other people go. If you do ask someone to participate and they say, I'm going to pass, don't push it. It's not a requirement. You don't make them participate. Thank you for that question. Next one.
I have a question.
Yes.
I was thinking about this in the context of interview, because you mentioned that table topics really can lend itself well.
Mhm.
And then I just went through an interview a few days ago, and I wish I had been more graceful in some of my answers. Is there a way to finesse answering a different question? Can you do that effectively in an interview? Could that technique ever be used effectively?
Yes,
Okay.
you can. And I say that because I'm an employment and training specialist. I actually do mock interviews and help with it as well. Sometimes when you are interviewing for that position, you may not have the exact experience or anything of what that employer is looking for. But when you finesse it, what is something that's similar? Help connect dots for that employer. So one example for my last interview that I had, tell us about case management, because you will be working with individuals and we do case management here. I've never done case management, and I said that. But I look at case management as projects, as an event, doing something from the start to the end, doing all the intake paperwork, getting all my documentation, doing the follow-up reports. So I will make that connection somehow for them. And normally when I answer an interview question, again, in my mind, I know pretty much what 1 to 2 minutes is. So that's how I would use that in table topics. All right, that is the end of my time here today. I want to thank everyone. I will drop in the presentation, and then you can flip through the other items in the presentation regarding the contests for table topics. All of the titles here for the contest resources. If you are not familiar with them, you can click on the links and go to their information. And the information in this entire presentation did come from Toastmasters, the Better Speaker Series set. So I want to thank everyone for your time, your attention. I want you to go out and volunteer for table topics and have fun and enjoy the rest of our training here today. Let's turn things back over to our program manager, Janet.
Round of applause to our guest speaker, Kris. Thank you so much, Kris. That is wonderful information and definitely useful. We look forward to using some of those tips in the future. I was hoping you would tell your toothpaste story. Maybe we'll save that for another time. All right, everybody. Kris has dropped her presentation into the chat, which is wonderful. What we're going to do now is move into the break room. So please make sure that you have named yourself so that the officer position for which you want training is first, and then your name so that we can move you into the rooms. If you have any questions, please let us know or drop a note into the chat. So we will. Yes, yes, ma'am.
This is Anne
Yes.
Marie. I'm sorry. Do we have a survey for the speaker?
So Rob dropped that into the chat.
Yes. Okay.
However, it's a general survey. It's not specific to Kris's presentation.
Right. So Rob, did you have one that was specific to Kris's presentation?
No, we can use the same. Yeah, we can use the same link, and in the comments box, you can provide your feedback if there is any. And Janet, we have a certificate as well if you would like to present right now.
Yes, thank you, Saurabh. I will do that. All right, I am not able to share my screen at the moment.
Okay, give me 1 minute, I'll do. No worries. Yes, can you see now?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, so Kris, on behalf of District 18, I would like to present the certificate to you. It was a wonderful session. I can see everyone in the audience have loved it so much, and we are definitely going to practice table topics more from now onwards. Thank you so much. Please accept this copy of certificate. Ladies and gentlemen, we can have a big round of applause for Kris to Janet,
Thank you
over to
again.
you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody. We're going to start moving into the break rooms now. Please make sure you're renamed appropriately so that we can move you in there. And we will see you back here a little bit before 3 o'clock. When you exit the break room, please just exit the break room. Don't exit the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, I can see 4 last members in the main room: James, John, Laura, and Ralph. I think, yeah. John, would you
Yeah, I'm
like
trying
to?
to. Oh, I apologize.
No worries.
I need to
Yeah,
go
Miss.
into the VP PR room. I was by mistake assigned to VP education room.
And then. Yeah, Mr. PQD, if you would assign me, John Kallenberger, to the president break room, thank you.
Yeah, sure. 1 minute.
And I need to go to VP PR room.
Yes. Jim, can you move Gayatri, the trainer for VPPR, to her room, please?
And we also need to stop the recording.
Hello. I was put in the wrong room. I'm VP of membership.